What's good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and this one break down what's going on with the overall market, what you should be watching for moving forward. I'm also going to talk about why next week is going to be absolutely massive for the markets, and then briefly talk about AMC stock. Something huge just came out, and it's opening a very big opportunity for us. I'm also going to make another video about AMC and go into more detail about what just happened because something super huge is happening, and there's a very, very good opportunity to make crazy money off of it. Now, before I break anything down about all this information, let me just mention a couple of things. I'm personally not a financial planner. Make sure you take none of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 12 free stocks. The offer ends very soon in just about 11 days, so check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. SPY was very flat today overall. We got a nice little gap up as I predicted yesterday. Then we saw this dump afterwards, which I also predicted, but I wasn't sure if the market would get a nice bounce or continue dropping. I wasn't too sure about that. And if anything, the market did actually bounce and come right back down. And we closed at 0%, very, very flat for the day. We didn't actually see SPY dump very hard. We didn't see it run up very hard. It's kind of in the middle right now. But whether or not the market, the whole market continues to either pump or it ends up if it ends up like dumping really hard, that's going to be very dependent on what happens next week because we have a crazy, crazy week ahead of us. So what's so big about next week? Let me first remind you that in terms of data, there's not a whole lot of data coming out from Monday and Tuesday. We just have some like consumer confidence reports and data from the Chicago Fed, just small things like that. But for Wednesday, we have something absolutely massive. We have new home sales, then the one and only FOMC meeting coming once again with Jerome Powell giving another speech. That's going to be massive for the entire stock market. Then on top of this, we also have to mention that the Fed is most likely going to raise rates again. There's a 99.8% chance the Fed's going to raise rates. That's pretty significant. And we're going to see how the market responds to this. Now, remember, the Fed's looking at unemployment data, and that's really dictating their decision when making this move. Looking at inflationary numbers, they've been cooling off quite nicely for almost everything in terms of like core and etc., except for like core specifically. Core is basically a little bit hot, still holding up a little higher, but it is on a nice downtrend alongside inflation as a whole. So, why is the Fed going to continue to raise rates? That's because they want a reset in the current economic system. They want to see the jobs market weaken. Basically, they want to see unemployment start to go up, and the market is due for this sort of correction. They could also have other intentions at hand, which may not always be the best for us. I just want to note that. But whatever the reasoning is, there's a good chance they're going to continue to raise rates, and that's not going to be the best for our economy in a way because this could lead to more contractions. Now, on top of all of this, with the FOMC meeting coming out, we have massive earnings coming out for next week. We have Domino's Pizza. That's going to be pretty big, at least for the people who are into pizzas. But going forward, in all seriousness, for Tuesday, we have Microsoft, Google, Snap, Visa, GM and Verizon all coming out for Tuesday. And then for Wednesday, we have AT&T, we have Boeing, we have Coca-Cola, we have a couple of others such as Union Pacific. And then we have Wednesday, after the market closes, we have Meta, Chipotle, we have eBay for retail, and Meta is going to be the big one for Wednesday. So we have some big tech earnings coming out. We have Microsoft, Alphabet slash Google, Meta all coming out for next week. Then for Thursday, we have Intel and Roku and McDonald's. Big earnings coming out, especially Intel. This next week is going to be massive. We have earnings, we have FOMC, and something else crazy just came out. Now, I'm just going to very briefly talk about this right now. I will talk more about this tomorrow. But basically, in short, the settlement has been rejected for Ape to be for the Ape conversion to essentially happen for AMC. What this basically means is that AMC is not going to be diluted by Ape, and then there's not going to be a reverse stock split after. I'm going to go into a lot more details about this tomorrow. I want to make a video about this because this is pretty significant because this is going to cause a very big move in AMC going into next week on Monday specifically. It is up 71% in the after hours. It almost doubled in value in just a couple of minutes. This thing is going to run like crazy, especially because of the current technicals. I'm going to break down something important about it and why on earth this is a good money making opportunity possibly, right? Because I'm not saying you should just like buy and hold AMC and just do that. That's your own choice. Do whatever you want to do. But I am going to look at this as a trade potential. You can enter calls and exit them pretty quickly. You could enter them and hold them for a day or so as this thing runs. And the gains, the money that could be made is absolutely enormous if you learn how to play this right. So it's already up pretty big. If you were holding AMC calls overnight, you are going to make crazy money. This is once again a good opportunity. I'm going to talk more about this tomorrow, though. Now, for SPY, let me just break down a couple of things. This is looking a little bit bearish. As of right now, we have like an inverse cup and handle that's forming. And we also have this imbalance down here around this 450 area on the 4-hour time frame. Now, the market's weakening, approaching big earnings. But remember, the big tech earnings will determine if the market continues to correct or if the market gets a really nice bounce. Specifically, Microsoft and Alphabet are going to be the two big ones coming up for Tuesday. This is going to be so big for the market, so make sure you are ready for this. To add on to this, it is looking a little bit more bearish though on the 4-hour time frame, so there's a chance it could continue to drop. I called out an intraday bounce that happened, but mentioned there's another possibility of the market continuing to slide. And that is what happened. But if the market broke resistance, it could have kept going, but that's not what we ended up seeing. It was just forming kind of like an inverse cup and handle like formation, and that could lead to more downside moving forward. So technicals are still looking a little bit more bearish. For Tesla, we got a very beautiful bounce followed by another rejection, but that bounce was very fun to play if you guys played it. Basically, Tesla came down to 255, then bounced and made its way almost to about 267. Very, very nice move by Tesla as buyers started to step in, and we're starting to see more buyers coming in. Now, if Tesla maintains this level, could there be like an inverse head and shoulders? It's a possibility, but I'm not really counting on it. I do believe it could try to hold up temporarily, but then big tech earnings and FOMC will dictate how Tesla moves. So be on the lookout for that level. And if 255 does break, if we break below it, we are most likely going to test 250. And if that fails, the next major zone for there to be lots of buyers to step in is going to be around 240 for a Tesla if 250 fails us. If it breaks above 268 to 270, we could see this thing make its way up to about 278 or so, but I'm not really counting on it for now because, like I said before, there's lots of volatility coming. What's not so good about the stock market would be Apple right now because Apple is starting to weaken. I was mentioning this very important support on Apple at this 192.5 level. It broke below that. Then our next support would have been around 192. That also failed. It actually closed below that. That's a bearish looking sign. It's looking very weak. And if Apple continues to slide, this is going to slow the market down. The next important support is going to be closer to like 190. If it comes all the way down like that and continues to fail, that's not going to be good. Now, in the after hours, it is up a little bit, trying to get back above 192. If it continues to slide, it's going to be bearish. Last but not least, I'm going to just talk about the triple Q before I talk about just a couple of others. The triple Q is looking kind of weak as well. We got a very nice pump in the morning, right? We came down, then we pumped after that, getting very close to about 278. If we kept going, 280 wasn't really like out of the table, out of the picture, basically. But then we got a rejection and started coming down, and we were going to be watching, and I called this level out, the low we made from Thursday. If it broke the low of Thursday, there's a good chance 373 is coming, and that's what it ended up doing. So we're going to be watching 375. If that fails us, 373 is coming for the gap fill way down below. I will talk more about this on Sunday, anyways, for all the other tickers. Nvidia, this is going to be the last one I talk about before I talk about anything else. Nvidia is trying to hold up around 442, getting very close to our 440 target if 444 broke. For now, we could see it slide a little bit more because of tech slowing down, but I'm not worried about it. Like I said before, let this thing fall. Completely fine with me. It's going to be a fun play for August. I think it's going to get a very, very nice run to the upside approaching earnings. And for now, there could be more downside first before that happens. So we're going to be watching this 440 level. If that fails to hold us, there's 435 and potentially levels all the way down to like the low 430s. And there is more room for lower levels for it, of course. But like I said before, I'm not really too concerned about it. I still see potential in this stock. I do believe a bounce will eventually come. Last but not least, for AMC, and I'm going to talk more about AMC tomorrow because there's something very important about it, which I want everyone to know. Now, AMC is a stock that loves to pump and then dump in a way. I'm not saying it has to crash or anything like that, but historically, that is what happened, right? Remember in June, remember in March of 2021, June 2021, and many other instances like that, there were plenty of times where this thing ran up and came down, ran up and came down. Wouldn't you have loved to have had calls here or like held calls or some very, very long positions as this thing pumped up and then exited them at the top? Well, we have an opportunity to do it again. There's another good opportunity coming, in my opinion. And if you guys want to know why that is, I'm going to make a very detailed video about why on earth that is very likely to happen. I'm going to talk about the settlement in the court case that could help this thing pump very nicely. It's holding up very nicely so far, holding up above $7. So I'm going to talk about this tomorrow, but for now, just know that the overall market is looking a little weak, approaching the big week for earnings and etc. And we will talk more about this going into Sunday. But for now, the market's looking weak, approaching Monday. We will see what happens with big tech earnings in the FOMC meeting. But until then, I want the best for everyone. Thank you all so much for listening. Enjoy the weekend. Remain calm, cool, and collected. I want to keep this one short, and I will see you guys again tomorrow for an AMC video. I really want to talk about something important. It's worth noting. It's going to be worth your time. Believe me. Believe me when I say that. And for Sunday, I'll be back to talk about the whole market and break down something very, very important that's going on and talk about all your different tickers out there from like Tesla, Nvda, Meta, Aapl, and everything. All right. So thank you for listening. I'll see you guys very soon. The market to the moon is the long term is very bright, and peace out.